Jones, Steve, I've been coming to these games for the better part of 20 years, and you never really lose the feel for it. The great turnout that we have in here tonight, palpable excitement for both sides, and with good reason. Both these teams have been playing pretty good basketball of late. Hope, though, I think has to be a little bit concerned whether or not they lost their moment to get Calvin when Calvin might have been a little bit vulnerable. And ever since that great second-half comeback in Game 1, Calvin has really looked like a team that desperately wants a championship.
That's a good point, Tom. Yeah, I asked Glenn Van Wieren about that in the pregame. You know, that's something that when you look back on that, I think you're exactly right. Hope had that opportunity in that first game. As we see some of the graphics now, the MIAA, they had that first half went exactly as they wanted. They were up by 10 at the break. In the second half, things started to fall apart, and I think they lost some of that emotion, Tom. If you could put it in one word, what they didn't have in that second half, it was that emotion, that fire that fueled that first half.
One thing that's rather surprising for me is that Calvin is not what you'd call a real veteran team, the likes of which we've seen when they've had some of their great teams in the past. They depend heavily on young players, as does Hope. And one of the guys that was really terrific in Game 1 for Calvin was Brian Foltis, the freshman who hit some big baskets. In fact, you might say that Zagar and Foltis were almost mirror images of one another. Zagar had the great first half. Foltis really with some terrific leadership. And we'll keep an eye on him. He seems to be growing in confidence. Beanstra started the season as a freshman. He's been there the entire way. Foltis now really starting to hit his stride, and he just seems to have a world of confidence going into this one.
Well, Coach Vandestreek talked about a key element in this game, how Calvin gets the ball inside. And when they do that, they'll open up a lot of things on the perimeter. We saw that in that second half with Crochelle getting a lot of touches inside, and that opened it up for Foltis on the outside to hit the threes.
All right, let's go down to the floor now for the starting lineups for tonight's action.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Calvin Fieldhouse for the continuation of one of this country's best basketball rivalries. Tonight's game marks the 144th meeting between Calvin and Hope in a series that spans 80 years and sees Calvin now holding a 72-71 advantage. Tonight they meet again, the visiting Flying Dutchman of Hope College and your own Calvin College Knights. Before we tip things off, let's take a minute to meet the starting lineups. At a guard for Hope, wearing number 24, a 6'1 senior from Plymouth, Mark Bray. At a guard for Calvin, he's a 6'2 senior tri-captain from Zeeland, number 24, Nate Karsten. At the other guard for the Flying Dutchman, wearing number 20, a 6'3 freshman from Holland, Chad Carlson. At the other guard for the Knights, he's a 6-foot freshman from Granville, number 10, Brian Foltis. In the middle for the orange and blue, wearing number 50, a 6'5 junior from Hudsonville, Kyle Moss. And in the paint for maroon and gold, a 6'8 junior tri-captain from Grand Rapids, wearing number 40, this is Brian Crochelle. At one forward for Coach Glenn Van Wieren, wearing number 22, a 6'4 junior from Jenison, Craig Veldman. At one forward for Coach Kevin Vandestreek, he's a 6'6 freshman from Kalamazoo, number 34, Jeremy Beanstra. At the other forward for Hope, wearing number 34, a 6'1 junior from Holland, Ryan Klingler. At the other forward for Calvin, a 6'6 senior tri-captain from Lake City, number 14, Aaron Winkle. Hope is coached by Glenn Van Wieren. Calvin is coached by Kevin Vandestreek.
Change in the starting lineup for Calvin from Game 1. Brian Foltis, the man we talked about, moves in ahead of John Podford, the sophomore. I'm sure we'll see both of those guys tonight. Hope will keep the same deck. 5 starters from last time, Steve, and we've got veteran officials here tonight. Ed Peters, Ernie Cryer, and Tom Hoffman. No strangers, any of those gentlemen, to this series here this evening, and we are about to tip it off. Once again, they've got them shoehorned in here. kept the fire marshal at bay. And just about everybody who wants to be here is here tonight. And for those of you that couldn't make it to the ball game, we're certainly happy to have you this evening on WGBU. Kyle Maas stepping in. Brian Crochelle, a great leaper for Calvin. You see the Calvin fans bouncing up and down across the way. Ernie Cryer blows his whistle. A few final words of instruction. And game number 144 between Calvin and Hope is underway. And here is Foltis, who had provided his team with such a big lift in the first game. Hope coming out aggressively in the man-to-man. Crochelle, and he fires that one into the tuba section for the first turnover of the game.
Some of the attendance that we've seen, tonight's attendance figures for you right there. Yeah, this is going to be interesting to see how Calvin uses that pass to attack the defense. They'll try the skip pass to free up some shooters now.
Interesting matchup here. The taller Winkle against the more physical Klingler. Outside shot for Craig Veldman is off the mark. And here is Nate Karsten picking up the pace of his game ahead to Veenstra from 15. And Calvin is on the board. Silky jump shot from the freshman.
He is so smooth. 15 points, 10 boards in that first game. So we get a stoppage in play right now.
I think Ernie Cryer trying to recycle on the shot clock here. Shot clock says 34. I think that they actually reset it after the made basket before the ball was entered in bounds. So now they go to 35 and we'll start anew.
I think what I was so impressed with too in that first game, you see the freshmen for Calvin, the poise that they showed. Just tremendous. Late game baskets were critical.
A couple of them out there right now. Here is Maas on Crochelle, long way out from where he's comfortable. Klingler moved a couple of feet and got away with it. Crochelle steps in nicely. Tom Hoffman says play on. A double pivot and then an easy backdoor basket. Mark Bray. Kevin Vandestreek thought a couple of guys were shuffling there, but no call forthcoming.
Well, that's something Hope used to their advantage in that first meeting. A lot of backdoor cuts. Calvin lost track of the offensive players and it hurt him.
Winkle going down hard on the baseline, blocked from behind, but he fought back, got it, and put it down. The shot was actually blocked by Carlson, but Winkle with his first two. 4-2 our score, a turnover by Hope. Let's see if they find Veenstra ahead of the pack. Karsten on the dribble, out of the key, free throw line, and puts it down.
Transition defense, you got to stick with the shooters.
Boy, Glenn Van Weeren's up too. He knows that any defender has to stop the dribbler. That's rule one of basketball in transition.
And this start of this game is extremely critical for Hope. Glenn Van Weeren talked about that.
Talking about freshmen, Carlson's a freshman out there for Hope. Foltis tried to poke it away. Here's Veldman. Veldman's free, and Crochelle let him go right on by. Craig Veldman, the junior from Jenison, makes it 6-4 in favor of Calvin.
Veldman's a key guy. 13 points in that first meeting. And see if he can get off offensively for him tonight. That'll help Hope a lot.
Nice double team in the corner. Karsten's in all sorts of trouble. Finally flops it up in the air to Winkle, and Crochelle gets the easy basket.
Nice passing inside there. Winkle able to find Crochelle for the easy two.
That ball kind of fluttered out of the hands of Karsten, but it went right to the Calvin man. Winkle, who dished it off for the easy bucket. Carlson on the baseline. Pull-up jumper over the shorter Foltis.
Nice touch.
Carlson with his first two, and so far in this ball game, 7 different players have scored. It's 8-6 Calvin.
Nice looking jump shot there from Carlson, averaging over 6 points a game.
Nice authority. He knew he had the shorter man on him. Winkle in traffic almost got it to go, and he got bumped by Kyle Maas on the way by. Well, we talked about the fact that they've been playing here for 35 years. The victories have been few and far between for most everybody in the MIAA. Hope, though, has managed 10, and there's Winkle leaning in. Looked like maybe Carlson was the guilty party.
Now, Winkle, Tom, in that first game, he led Calvin in scoring along with Foltis with 17 points, but it was really a quiet 17. He didn't assert himself until later on in the game as it went along. It was a very quiet first half. That's kind of how he is. He just leads by example, and before you know it, he's got 20 points.
It is indeed a foul against Carlson, 20, not 50, Kyle Maas. They were both there, but it was Carlson who picks up his first foul. Winkle drops both free throws. He has 4. The lead is 4. Calvin 10, Hope 6. And full court pressure.
Mark
Bray almost stepped across the timeline there, going over and back, but just came up a little bit short. Here's Carlson, guarded by Karsten this time. Feldman, Klingler, backing now is Moss on Tubergen. Lefties it up there nicely and gets it down.
What a nice little jump hook.
Sort of surprised him there with the left-handed shot, and it's 10-8. Boltis all the way down scoring.
Good quickness out of the small guard there, and really poor defense by Hope. Nobody got over there to help out.
Talk about getting off the schneid early. All 5 starters for Calvin have scored. The outside shot won't go. Winkle starts out for Calvin. Boy, hard to believe Aaron Winkle's playing in his last regular season game against Hope. It seemed like just a few months ago when he played in that game at the Van Andel Arena 3 years ago. Outside, Veenstra, maybe a half step beyond his comfort zone. Here comes Hope's Klingler. Klingler cut off. Bray, Karsten, nice position. And here is the outside shot for 3, and it goes for Craig Feldman.
Well, if Hope's going to stay in this game and really contend to win this tonight, they're going to have to get that perimeter jumper to go. The strength of their team is the perimeter, not the inside, and Feldman certainly very critical to that.
Carlson shading Winkle to the middle. Now Winkle almost walks into a double team. Tubergen is on. Thought that might have been a double dribble, but he's going to hit it from 10.
Boy, both teams are good shooting, and Tom?
No, he's absolutely on fire. There's Tubergen's first basket. He's a freshman from Holland Christian. This one is way off the mark, wide right, and nothing but Calvin shirts there. Off the miss on the three-point try. Karsten in among the trees. Tubergen, what a block! And then Karsten gets fouled. Hope really a little bit unlucky there that a held ball was not called, because the defender got his hand right on that ball, and so often you'll see a held ball situation which would have given the ball to Hope. Let's look at it again.
It's like Kyle Moss inside there. With some great defense to rise to the occasion and block that. You're right, Tom. I was surprised that the jump ball wasn't called. Normally you see that.
Well, I think they both came down without anybody having possession, so once the ball was wrested loose, and Peters decided to let him play on. Karsten a little bit heavy on the free throw, and now substitutions on both sides. And here he is, the guy we expect to see some things from tonight, Chad Zagar checking in. Bray will go out of there, and Don Overbeek is in. Also coming out is Kyle Vanderwall for Hope. Calvin will go with Boltis. Karsten. Nate Burgess is on for the first time. And then up front, a couple of big guys, Klein Hexel and Tubergen. Second one goes, and we will take our timeout. 15-11, Calvin on top on WGBU.
This broadcast is made possible by the members of WGVU and by the following.
I'm a chief executive officer.
I'm the CEO.
Presidente. Chief, the top dog.
I'm the big honcho.
See? Welcome to my kingdom.
I'm the queso grande. I'm the big cheese.
Huge. I'm the big kahuna. I am the queen of hardware.
At Huntington, our business bankers treat you like you have unique goals.
I'm going after a new market. Mrs. Fix-It.
Because you do.
I love the fact that everything lights up.
When you think about a traditional basketball rivalry, you think about Hope Calvin. When you think of office furniture for your small business or home office, West Michigan Office Interiors comes to mind. Their goal is to provide you with office furniture solutions, from space planning, design and layout, to installation and delivery. West Michigan Office Interiors promise to deliver their tradition, office furniture with no excuses, just results. West Michigan Office Interiors is proud to be a part of the West Michigan tradition and a proud sponsor of Hope Calvin basketball.
Very clean start to this one. Lots of good action on both sides. Steve Lloyd-Jones. Calvin is shooting the ball really well, and Hope has not backed away from the challenge whatsoever.
Absolutely not. Hope doing a nice job of utilizing that outside shot. And both teams shooting very well, as we've talked about. It makes for a fun game, no doubt about it.
Zagar against Burgess, who's a feisty little defender. Oh, you don't want to give him that one, I don't think. Well, it's off the iron this time. Nice rebound by Klingler, but then stripped and taken away by Foltis. Foltis on the lefty dribble. Karsten sets his feet. That one is just off the mark on the triple try. 14:38 left in the first half. Comes Veltman. Klingler from way out beyond the arc. And it's a rebound that hits the floor before Burgess grabs it. Ahead it comes. That's off the top of the backboard by Kleinhexel. Back out to Foltis. Got his man up in the air. All the way down. And finally controlled by Hope's Don Overbeek. Klingler to the glass. And got a push from Tubergen.
And Hope needs Klingler to get going here offensively. The leading scorer for this team at 15 points a game. He was very instrumental in the beginning of that first half in the game one. Came out with a good start. You can see how the team really fed off his emotion and that momentum and carried it through the first half.
Now, Klingler is the only guy who hasn't scored yet of the starters for these two teams, so he has not had the same kind of beginning in this ball game, but he's on the board right now with a free throw that makes it 15-12 Calvin.
So a completely different attitude right now for Calvin in this, playing in front of their home fans as opposed to playing at the Civic Center. They have the emotion, they have that fire that they didn't have in that first game.
Well, conditioning and bench strength is a big part of this game. Both these teams go pretty deep. I think Calvin might be a hair deeper than Hope right now as Klingler gets them both. But already Winkle has been rested, as has Crochelle, and even Beanster's been out of there a little bit. Full court pressure. Here's Crochelle. The big guys right now a little sloppy with the basketball, turned over there by Kleinhexel of Calvin. Klingler was up in the air, found somebody to go to. Wow, what a shot by Kyle Vanderwall for the three that puts Hope on top. 16-15.
And he can really do that. What a great outside shooter he is. He can beat up in a hurry.
He had no inclination whatsoever that he was going to shoot that basketball. Triple that goes for Winkle, and a foul. Oh, wait a minute. Ed Peters is going to wave it off. Now it's a tough break. I thought the shooter was actually the guy that got fouled, but that happened away from the basket. No question about the shot, but it was a foul underneath that occurred early, and I think it was against Overbeek. So talk about your turnarounds on a possession. That was potentially 4 points for Calvin. Hope gets a stop here, and that's essentially 2 trips that they've saved down the floor. Winkle with Klingler. Winkle inside. Beautiful shot. Yeah, he stepped out to kind of seal Klingler off. Got his body on there and then released toward the basket and hit the little leaner.
You see that veteran savvy right there. Knowing how to score.
Excellent shot. Here's Zager trying to get rid of Burgess. Easier said than done. Now this one doesn't go for Vanderwall, and Calvin has a rebound. Pulling it out of there is Kleinhexel. Here's Potvin, who started the last game. He's on now for Foltis. Winkle working on Klingler, looking confident as Winkle. Burgess, Potvin, and Crochelle. Good movement and good recovery by the Flying Dutch.
Yeah, Hope with great defense right now, Tom. Excellent effort.
Winkle picked up the dribble to Crochelle. Shot clock at 7. Winkle's going to have to create. They'll go from the top. Off the back iron. Tipped away by Crochelle, and Ernie Pryor comes in late and calls the foul on Crochelle. Well, generally, when you go over the top from behind, it's automatic. Now, in this case, I thought Crochelle got the basketball. But I think what Ernie was doing there, he was going to see whether or not it resulted in a loss of possession. And when it did, that's when he made the determination it was a foul against Crochelle.
Well, there's no doubt right now Hope is playing great defense. You can see it in Calvin. There's a little bit of hesitancy right now as to what exactly they're trying to do on the offensive side. And that you have to give credit to Hope's defense for that.
Here's Bray with a much smaller Potvin. Hope trying to look inside. Moss. And now Overbeek off glass and in. Well, we've talked about the fact that Hope hasn't had a great inside game in these 2 games this year, but they're certainly trying to make it happen. And there's a turnover as Zager turns over Potvin right in front of the Hope bench.
Well, a few minutes ago, I mentioned how important the beginning of this game was for Hope. And certainly at this point, up 18-17, Hope has to love the position that they're in. This is going exactly what they'd like.
Very nearly a push-off by Zagar there. On the left-handed dribble. Burgess really hawking hard. Potvin with Bray. Bray's going to move it back out beyond the arc. Good position that time. The shot won't go. A couple of Calvin players tipped it, and it's finally Beanstra. He threw it back in bounds. Calvin screaming for a foul, and Hope screaming for the three from the right arm of Mark Bray.
Calvin has lost their edge right now, Tom. They're getting beat to loose balls. Hope with the extra effort, and they're paying off for it.
I think Beanstra wants to get some back right now, and he's not going to do it with that shot. And Hope in control at 21-17.
Great
defense by Beanstra.
What a super job by the freshman there.
Winkle, and that one is sent back into the fans underneath the basket. We will take a timeout. It is 21-17 Hope leading Calvin here on WGBU.
This broadcast is made possible by the members of WGVU and by the following.
Leadership in insurance, in business, in Western Michigan. Barron's Hendricks Stite Insurance. At Mercantile Bank, we help customers make the right investments to help them grow and prosper. One of the smartest investments any of us can make is in the well-being of our community. Mercantile Bank, downtown Grand Rapids and Alpine Northwest.
Dad, where did the barn go?
Nowhere. It's there.
Where?
In the fog. But you just can't see it.
Are you sure?
Uh-huh. I promise you, son. The barn will always be there.
With the right plan, what you intend to leave to your family will actually go to your family. Have you heard from the El Gersma Agency? Northwestern Mutual Life.
Steve, nice little spurt here for Hope in the last couple of minutes after Calvin had taken command at the outset.
Yeah, right now, Hope on a 10-2 run in the last 4 minutes. And Tom, really, I think what Calvin is lacking right now is patience on the offensive end. A lot of one pass and a shot, dribble drive and a shot. Not a whole lot of working it around.
Calvin settling a little bit as they did in game one for the outside attempt. Now they lob inside to Veenstra, who's home free and gets it off glass.
That's an excellent look inside. In game one, we saw a lot of good use of those possessions. After a timeout, Calvin utilized that a lot. See a good example right there.
Now Van de Streek with a nice job drawing that one up. Good lob by Fultus to Veenstra. 13 different players have scored in this one, and Calvin coming up with a turnover. Then Klingler on the floor, taking it away from Winkle.
Great hustle by both teams there. Wow.
Klingler is not a guy that you want to end up on the floor with. I can guarantee you that.
That's for sure.
He'll take you to the mat and put you in a hammer lock. Klingler will shoot from out there. Not this time. Crochelle lost it. Calvin gets it back and has numbers. Winkle's going to go all the way. Well, that was tipped nicely, but Ernie Pryor gets it. Kyle Vanderwall for the foul.
That last possession, we saw Calvin go inside. And I think we're going to see a more concerted effort by the Knights to do that. That is the key to their success as we see a replay here. Winkle drives in. Utilize that inside pass. Hope will have to sag in to protect, and then the perimeter will be open.
Here is Aaron Winkle from Lake City, Michigan. Young man who played at McBain Christian. 13 players have scored in this one already. And Winkle is the scoring leader with 7. Here you see it. I think Vanderwall thought he was going to get some help from Zager, and it came too late. Actually, a pretty good play coming from the back end, but Pryor calls the foul. And now more substitutes as Feldman and Carlson come in. Vanderwall goes out of there along with Zagar. Calvin with a chance to tie here at the 10-16 mark. Aaron Winkle looking for point number 8. Top player in the MIAA last year, doesn't get it, but Veenstra gets it back. Karsten right where he wants to be with the floater. No, tipped out by Hope. Calvin retains possession.
Hope certainly wants to have a little better help side. outside defense than they had at that time, but good use inside. Both teams working extremely hard.
Now, Hope has got a rather smallish lineup out there right now. Kyle Moss at 6'5" is the biggest man on the floor. So let's see if Calvin tries to exploit that. And not a good foul there by Klingler, bumping Veenstra in the midcourt area. If you're going to put your hands on somebody, it's usually better if that individual does not have the basketball, because there's 4,500 people in here officially tonight, and at any given time, 4,000 or so of those people are watching the guy with a rock. A series of streaks, and Calvin trying to build on a streak here tonight, trying for their second consecutive win. Nice ball movement to Fultis. The triple spins out, and Hope is able to retain the lead by 1.
They'll take that. That's exactly what they're looking for.
Nice rundown by Carlson in the corner to keep possession. Veldman ducked under Veenstra. Tough shot, no. Chased it back, but Veenstra, again, Johnny on the spot. Inside, 9.5 now. Nice lob inside. Yep. Winkle composes himself, can't get it. Nice save by Fultis, who nearly threw it to himself. And Hope gets the basketball back. Glenn Van Wieren telling it, he wanted to shove. Oh, did you see what that little guy did to my poor Ryan Klingler?
Well, Ryan Klingler is very important right now because I get the feeling he's pressing a little bit, Tom. They're taking some outside shots, really trying to force the issue somewhat. But if he can get things going, Hope is going to be all the better for it.
Poking a little fun at Hope. Klingler's a tough guy. You got to push him pretty hard to make him move at all at any time. Here's Carlson moving down. Klingler has tried a couple from on top, and he finally gets one. A triple and a 4-point lead.
Now we'll see if that gets him going. Nice looking jump shot from the top.
5 for Klingler. 24-20 our score. Rochelle's all tied up, and he got hammered there. Oh, no, says Tom Hoffman. Tipped away and out of bounds. Moss got his hand on it. Rochelle lost the handle, and now Hope can build it to a 6 or 7-point lead.
To begin the game, Calvin was dictating, Tom. They really were, especially to Hope on the offensive end. Right now, with the effort that Hope is doing on their defense, they are dictating to Calvin how the offense will flow.
Different matchup here as Klingler goes down, throws it away, and he got bumped on the way by, and Ed Peters detected something funny in there. I thought that Klingler got himself in a bad way and just simply threw it out of bounds, but instead it's going to be a foul against Josh Tubergen. Counted foul. And set in bounds is Craig Veldman, the junior from Jenison. Hope on the lead right now by 4 here at Calvin after losing game 1 by 10. That's Moss with the basketball. He's hounded by Tubergen. Carlson looking for Klingler. Nice job by Karsten. Veenstra on Veldman. Thrown away. The official ran into the Hope player, and Nate Burgess able to pick it off. It's Potvin, who's been in there for quite a while now. Actually, Fultis, I should say. Karsten goes down, and this time they'll call the held ball. I didn't think that one was as clear-cut as the first one, but maybe a turnabout is fair play as Hope gets possession.
Another look at it here. As Karsten goes in again, it's Moss.
That's a pretty good play.
Yeah, that's another good block out of Kyle Moss.
May not look so good from this angle, but I'm not going to take too much exception with that. A little bit of bumping at the end, but by that time, essentially, the play had been made.
On the way up, all ball.
Bray between the circles now for Hope, down to the 8-minute mark. Hope still with the lead at 24-20. A push-off. Vanderstreek not happy about that. And now a foul away from the basketball, which is going to go against Don Overbeek of Hope, I do believe. Overbeek picks up the foul. Calvin gets it back. We're going to take a timeout right now with 7:57 left in the half. It's still the Dutch on top by 4.
This broadcast is made possible by the members of WGVU and by the following.
Program support is made possible in part by Grand Oldsmobile, It matters not if you're a Flying Dutchman from Hope or a Calvin Knight. Both are welcome for either sales or service at Grand Oldsmobile, located on West 28th Street in Grandville. If you've got a dream, chances are we've got a loan. Ameribank, West Michigan's locally owned and operated bank with 26 locations and 110 years of customer service. Ameribank, friendly, local, smart. You deserve a company with the financial strength to be there when you need it most. Mass Mutual's Michigan Vanderveen Agency has served West Michigan since 1914. Mass Mutual, the blue chip company, helps you keep your promises.
Well, there you see the crowd on hand, and then goes the huddle for the Hope Flying Dutch. Those guys feeling pretty good about themselves right now. Steve Lloyd-Jones, they played a very smart and very efficient first half here tonight in Grand Rapids.
Well, what you have to like from Hope's perspective as well, they've done this really with relatively little production out of Bray and Klingler. Those guys have not been leading the charge, and they're up by 4 points.
Well, Calvin's certainly not happy to have 20 points in the first 12 minutes of this ball game. It started out very well for Calvin, and they just haven't been able to keep it going offensively. Burgess, that ball was tipped and controlled, blocked by Bray, and pulled out of there by Kyle Haas. Klingler working on Karsten. And he charged into Burgess. That was a slick pass by Klingler to drop it off in the corner, but he plowed into the Calvin defender, and Calvin gets it back.
See some of the shooting for both of these teams right now. Hope 4 of 11, Tom, from three-point range.
Well, considering Calvin's start, 8 for 22, really illustrates how poorly they have done offensively in the last 10 minutes of this game. This is a triple try for Karsten off the iron. Again, Hope there to rebound it. Brian Paul pulls it away. For some reason, the substitution pattern just doesn't seem to have worked out very well for Calvin thus far. Moss inside with the lefty hook, no good. Over the top went Paul, but Calvin controls. Seems to me like Beanstra's been out of there a lot in the first half here.
Really has. Good point.
And Winkle's on the sideline right now as well. This is really not a go-to offense. Karsten cut off, looking for help. Boltus, pocket 18. Boltus might be the creator with this group that's in here right now. Karsten would have been a major league three, got flicked from behind, and now slapped out of bounds. Shot clock at 6. And a substitution, Veldman back on, and now Winkle will come in, along with Jeremy DeKuyper and Veenstra. I should say Jason DeKuyper, sorry, and Jeremy Veenstra.
We hadn't seen Veenstra a whole lot before. Now he comes back in, and certainly this is one of Calvin's more explosive offensive lines.
Let's see if they have a quick play here. Winkle's got it. He forces, can't get it. Calvin will control. DeKuyper, who's just on, launches and fills it. Who would have thunk it? Second touch of the game. He's in for about 10 seconds, and he's got 3 points up there.
Well, he made that happen, too, with some offensive rebounding. Buried the first triple of the game for Calvin.
Well, if you're a shooter and you know it, you might as well get right at it. Cross-court pass to Carlson from 8. Gets it. Carlson with 4. The lead is 3 now for Hope at 26-23. Veenstra, that's a good matchup for Calvin inside. He got bumped out of the way. I suspect they're going to see the man on the deck got him, and that's Veldman. Ernie Cryer coming over to tell us all about it.
And I thought Jeremy Veenstra fortunate there, Tom, to come away when he tripped to the foul line. He could very easily have set himself up for an offensive foul.
Well, Veldman was saying, how could I do it? I was on the ground, and Ernie agreed. It was Bray that got the foul. I actually thought they might go for Brian Paul. You could see Veenstra. He had a big guy on him, and his eyes just lit right up. And there's Jeremy. And this is wide right on that one. Here's that last play. Veldman tries to step in there. Well, I couldn't really see who got Veenstra on that play. It wasn't really immediately visible for us.
No, not at all. Veenstra is so versatile. He has that great combination of being able to step out at the three-point line and hit a shot, but he's quick enough at 6'6" that a big man he'll blow right by.
starting rotation that time, and all Calvin at the bottom. 5 for Veenstra. Calvin back within a hoop. Zager back on for his second tour of duty. Todd Bloomer's on for Hope, and right away a turnover ahead of the pack to Winkle. And Calvin is tied in at 26.
Great defense leads to that transition offense. Good job by the Knights to get out quickly.
Yeah, with the 2 big offensive guns in there right now, Calvin's starting to come to life a little bit that time. And now a knock away by Fultis. Great body control by Fultis. Sealed off the defender, picked it up, and put Calvin in the lead.
Well, we've seen a little swing here as we get a timeout. Calvin definitely getting the momentum back.
Calvin moves on top, 28-26.
This broadcast is made possible by the members of WGVU and by the following.
When you think about a traditional basketball rivalry, you think about Hope Calvin. When you think of office furniture for your small business or home office, West Michigan Office Interiors comes to mind. Their goal is to provide you with office furniture solutions, from space planning, design and layout, to installation and delivery. West Michigan Office Interiors promise to deliver their tradition, office furniture with no excuses, just results. West Michigan Office Interiors is proud to be a part of the West Michigan tradition and a proud sponsor of Hope Calvin basketball.
July 22nd, 1925.
I'm 72.
I believe that makes me a senior citizen.
Sexy old broad.
I'm a senior. I like the finer things of life.
I have everything I want.
Well, you've got me. At Huntington, our personal bankers treat you like a unique individual.
I find meatballs very comforting.
Because you are.
It's going to be a long time before I sit down and crochet and knit.
Here's the knockaway right here by Fultis. Now he is challenged all the way down, but watch him step back in front, get control, seal, and score.
He is fantastic with his quickness, both on the offensive and defensive end. You've seen Calvin rely now on their defense to get them going offensively.
Well, he's a very clever player, is Fultis. This is Moss going down deep. Let's see who Hope goes to on this possession. Zager with Fultis. A couple of lefties out there. Oh, good play by Zager for the free throw line jumper. Oh, unlucky break there. Got a great shot, a great look. It just didn't go down for him. Winkle outside again. And that is DeKuyper for his second straight three.
What a spark he's been. Wow. Left side moments ago and now on the right.
Designated gun. And he's got it unholstered here. 2 quick buckets for him. Just like that, Calvin on top 5. What a strong move to the basket that was by Bloomers, the freshman.
Excellent move.
He was not to be denied on that one. Now Veenstra, Winkle. Good matchup for Calvin here on Bloomers. Shot blocked, but Winkle draws the foul. That's pretty good recognition we've seen on a couple of trips by Calvin, by Winkle and Veenstra, realizing they either had somebody on him that was too small or too slow and driving it right to the iron.
Well, it's because they're very similar players. They're both about 6'5", 6'6". As I touched on with Veenstra, he can go outside or go inside, and Winkle is the same way. Now that is so difficult to guard because how do you match up with somebody like that? And Winkle, a good shooter.
Well, Winkle's outstanding, and really, when you consider that a coach has to say, well, we're going to make a decision. We're going to put our best defenders on one of those guys. The other guy is going to get somebody who's probably not quite as good. Kind of the situation that Calvin had about 10 years ago with Saul and Hondard. And really, Veenstra's arrival has been a godsend for Winkle because Winkle is not the most physical player in the world. And even though he's a senior, he's much better suited to play a little bit more out on the perimeter.
He's going to come out right now, get a little bit of a break.
4:07 left in the first half here. Calvin, after trailing by as many as a half dozen a few moments ago, back on top 5 at 33-28.
Keep your eye on Vanderwall. He's a designated outside shooter as well.
It's Vanderwall with the basketball. Klingler, and then Overbeek. Zager. That might have been a hand check on Fultis. You can hear Ernie Cryer picking up on our microphone. You got to get the mitts off the dribbler. That's usually a pretty good idea. And Ernie has been consistent on that call. He's had one at the other end, one on this end. That was Poultice with the common foul. Calvin with 12 of the last 16 in this one in the last 5 minutes.
Here we go, man. Here we go.
And Peters with the restart. Klingler. That's a tough shot right there, but it goes nicely for Overbeek. Boy, another freshman playing well in this one. Give him 4.
That's a nice looking shot right there. Very difficult to fade away on the baseline like that.
Oh, and Poultice starting to pick up where he left off in the second half of the Civic Center. Goes from the outside, and suddenly Calvin's shooting touch has been rediscovered.
Oh, you got to love this matchup. Poultice and Zagar, Tom. What a great looking matchup that is.
Yeah, some very, very confident offensive players. Oh, nice knock away. Veenstra behind the back, trying to save it, but Klingler hustled back into the action. Poultice thought he got bumped, and Tom Huffman said, This is Vanderwall off the iron. A subtle push off there by Veltman. Works, and then he turns it over out of bounds. Kevin Vandestreek saying something to Veenstra about that behind-the-back pass, which I thought was really his only option there, losing control. And he got a little more mustard on that one. That would have brought the house down because Poultice was home free. Crochelle lobbing, Veenstra down deep. Get it! Eagle score. Veenstra now with 7. And Hope starting to lose contact a little bit here late in the first half as Veenstra will go to the line with a chance to cap a 3-point play.
That is the whole key as we see it once again in here. Veenstra again on the block, and a great job going up with a strong move. When Calvin falls in love with that outside shot, they struggle.
Let's see it again. Veenstra gets position. Now Klingler goes by, but Vanderwall probably should have just let him go at that point. Down deep, a kid like this with his strength and with the great hands that he possesses is not going to miss too many. And you can't really knock him off his shot. Veenstra has missed a couple of free throws, but a break for Calvin as Crochelle controls. Crochelle looking to wheel inside. Oh, Winkle was there. Veldman got him on the wrist. I believe so. Quick interior pass that time. Veldman not playing bad defense, almost was able to get the tie-up. But as we'll see in the replay, it just wasn't there. Boy, he was awfully darn close. Tough break for Hope. Good play by Calvin.
Boy, Crochelle is good at that. So good at quick passes, skip passes, any kind of passing as a big man. He is so effective.
We have seen some pretty putrid free throw shooting by the big guns here for Calvin. Veenstra's been off the mark a couple of times, and now Winkle, not a guy who you ever expect to miss one. Misses by about a foot and a half on that attempt. Veenstra will get a rest here with 2:47 remaining, and this one from Winkle looks a little bit better and goes, and Winkle now has an even dozen on the night. 38-30 Calvin. Potvin back on now. Here's Vanderwall. Got past Karsten. Oh, that's a good break as it comes to Veldman, who hits from 10. The ball was actually tipped, but it went right into the hands of Veldman.
Oh, good poise there, too.
And now a takeaway by Hope. Trailing by 6. Veldman, incidentally, with 7 in the contest. Klingler. Nice work by Winkle. Vanderwall trying to work on Karsten. Karsten let him go and then bumped him on the way by. Karsten with kind of a fatigue move there, a mistake caused perhaps by fatigue, standing straight up, maybe a little bit tired. Kevin Vandestreek talking to him about it right now.
Calvin right now on an 18-8 run over the last 6 minutes.
This has got to be Karsten coming out. Burgess back on.
It's a dangerous time right here for Hope. You've got to maintain contact. This could very easily turn into a double-digit lead for Calvin at the break.
On the flip side, an opportunity for Hope to draw even here or get a little bit closer before the intermission. We're down to just about 2 minutes left in this one. Calvin on top by 6. Zager with the ball. Winkle going to try to chase it down, but he's not going to get there. Those passes out on the perimeter are being contested by both teams tonight, so you better not throw a soft one up there, or somebody's going to be headed quickly in the other direction. Lob inside, nice speed, and a nice delivery by Overbeek, who now has 6. 38-34. Potvin with Zager bumping on him. Boy, they are playing some tough defense all over this court. Hexel. Burgess. Winkle's the shooter in this offensive alignment. And now Crochelle will be nailed away from the basketball by Ed Peters. Common foul against Calvin here at the 128 mark. And the 16th foul. As Tubergen checks in and Crochelle will go out of there. Crochelle with a couple of fouls. Nobody in any real trouble right now for either side. And Crochelle is probably done for the first half here tonight. So Hope with a chance to cut into this Calvin 4-point lead. Vanderwall from way outside off the mark. Rebounded there nicely by Tubergen. Potvin, Veenstra pull up from 15. And Veenstra now starting to warm to the task. He's got 9. Calvin on top by a half dozen. Down to a minute remaining. Veldman trying to force it inside. Klingler for 3. Boy, another good rebound there by Tubergen. Let's see if Calvin can finish in style here at the end of the half. Winkle on Veldman. Burgess, his first try for 3 is no good, and Klingler will collect that one easily. Game clock and the shot clock nearly synced up right now here. 30 on the shot clock for Hope, and Glenn Van Wieren smartly telling his team to hold it for one last attempt. He'd like to be down by 2 or 3, but 6 is not out of the question. What he doesn't want to see happen is Calvin get this ball back with any amount of time on the clock. Spread offense, clock at 14. Clock really not a factor now. Hope to take all the time that it wants. Zager to the free throw line. Vanderwall, that's about a 30-footer, and it went about 35. Well, Calvin will get a chance. Potvin on the run. Hurries it up. Tubergen. No, it will not count. Well, I didn't think so. But they're going to allow the basket. Tubergen with a dunk at the intermission. And Glenn Van Wieren's got a legitimate beef in my mind. We will go back and take a look at the replay. Now, if we see the light go on before the shot goes in, it shouldn't have counted. The light is on. That basket should not have counted. A nice pass ahead, and Calvin is fortuitous. But that's a basket that, in my mind, should have been disallowed. So Tubergen with a basket. Calvin with a lead, 42-34. And that's the way it will stand. Let's go down to the floor right now as Kevin Vandestreek will chat with our own Steve Lloyd-Jones, who's down there right now to talk perhaps about that last basket and to talk about the first half of the action, action that we've seen. Steve.
Steve Lloyd-Jones here with head coach Kevin Vandestreek of Calvin. Coach, you wanted to get off to a good start in this half. You did initially. Hope seemed to dictate, though, through the middle part of that half.
Yeah, I thought so. I was a little disappointed in that. They played very physical and kind of pushed us away from screens. I didn't think we were up to 9 like we should be on defense, but I thought we really struggled offensively until we had a little spurt late in the half.
Yeah, it looked as though offensively a little stagnant. They dictated somewhat through their defense, but it was your defense that seemed to spark the offensive flow.
Yeah, I thought we got up a little better there in the passing lanes, you know, and got a couple steals. You know, and then when you get some stops, you're playing up in the open court, and that's something we do very well. And, you know, DeKuyper shook loose, kind of knocked in a couple, kind of got the crowd into it, and got a little momentum going.
Final question for you. Rebounding, you mentioned, is a real big key for you in this one. How do you feel at the half?
Not very good. Although I don't think that Hope has got a significant number of offensive rebounds, but neither do we. And I'd like to see us get, you know, 6, 7 a half, you know, maybe the second half, get a couple easy putbacks.
All right, Coach, thanks so much for joining us, and good luck. Kevin Vandestreek of Calvin here at the half. Calvin on top. Let's go back now to Tom Cleary.
Okay. Thank you very much, Steve Lloyd-Jones, and Kevin Vandestreek probably thinking that he had a little bit of charity there and that things worked to his benefit. That last basket by Tubergen gives him 4 in the ball game, but right now for Calvin it's Winkle and also Veenstra combining for 21 in the first half, and thus the 8-point lead. A bit of a break for Calvin, a little bit of a bad turn of events for Hope, but certainly a great first half of basketball, and Hope is right in this one even though they trail right now 42-34. We'll take a break here at Calvin, and we'll have more coming up right after this.
Today's game on WGVU has been brought to you by Mass Mutual, Vanderveen & Associates, Ameribank, West Michigan Office Interiors, Huntington Banks, Barron's, Hendricks, Stite Insurance, Grand Oldsmobile, and Mercantile Bank.
Well, when I was a senior in high school, I guess I made a list of things that were going to be important factors in deciding where I was going to go to college. And early on, I decided that a Christian college was the most important thing to me, and so that made a much shorter list and made a smaller pool to choose from. And the distance was a concern, and all of a sudden there was a short list of schools that were options that had a Christian institution and had great academics, and basketball was also an important factor for me, and so a good basketball program was important, and Calvin had the best combination of those by far as I was concerned.
I think Calvin offers Christian education, which, coming from a Christian background, that's what I wanted, and it helped that both my dad and my older brother and sister attended Calvin. And it also provides a good education. I mean, I knew that it was known for its academics, and that was part of it. Also, I wanted to continue playing basketball in college, like I did in high school, and so that all kind of played a part.
When I talk to seniors who are looking at coming to Calvin and trying to tell them what Calvin's all about, one of the first things I always mention is the interaction that students have with professors and being able to get to know them on a personal level and to have them know me on a personal level and to know where I'm coming from and a little bit more what's going on in my life besides just sitting in the classroom for maybe 50 minutes 3 times a week. And when you get that connection between a student and professor, I just think there's going to be a more successful learning experience where the student's going to be more concerned about how they're doing because they know the professor's concerned about them, and I just think it creates a great learning environment. It's something that's been a big part of my education here at Calvin, and something I really feel has been a blessing throughout the last 4 years.
Actually, when I came to Calvin, I had no idea what I was going to go into. And then as a sophomore, I had heard about the program and kind of became interested, so I took the introductory course and really got hooked. I also volunteered in a speech-impaired classroom at Meadowlawn Elementary School in Kentwood as a sophomore, and that really it furthered my interest in it.
Connor, what's wrong, bud? Did you get some in your eye? Okay. Oh, wipe it on my pants. That'll be fine. Here. Oh.
I always knew I wanted to go into a helping profession, working closely with people, and so I guess communication disorders really fit that, and I don't know, it's been fun so far, and I'm looking forward to continuing my education.
Good job. You guys are doing so well.
I've been very blessed in my life with a wonderful family and having the opportunity to come to Calvin, which many other people do not have, and I guess I consider that my responsibility because I have been so blessed to try and pass on some to others who don't have nearly as many opportunities as I have had, and one of those has been the Big Brother program, which I've been involved with for the last 2 years, and I've really enjoyed it, and I think hopefully my little brother's enjoyed it as well. But it's been a great experience for both of us, and some of the things that he's been able to experience because of our relationship, I think he would have never had never had those opportunities had we not made a match. And so that's a great program that I've really enjoyed being a part of the last couple of years.
My parents and family played a huge role in everything I do. I think that they give a lot of support and encouragement, and I really learned being part of a big family about, cooperation and patience, and I think, yeah, and I've really grown to really love kids. I guess I have a lot of younger siblings, so to go out and volunteer in the community with kids, it's kind of just something I enjoy doing, and I had a lot of fun with the kids that I've volunteered with, and I've learned a lot, too, about speech pathology and what I'll be doing in the future.
there's constantly opportunities to show others Christ's love throughout the normal day, and just looking for those opportunities and trying to become involved in the community. I think sets an example for those who know me and those who see me each day, that there's something different about him, and that something different is Jesus Christ in his life. And well, no matter where I'm living or no matter what my job might be, I hope that people can see that in me, and I hope that throughout the last 4 years that when Aaron Winkle leaves Calvin College, that people will be able to say that about him, that yeah, there was something different about him, and it wasn't necessarily basketball or academics, but it was Jesus Christ was in his life and was in everything that he did.
This broadcast is made possible by the members of WGVU and by the following.
The stability and strength of the companies we represent is as important to us as ours should be to you. Barron's Hendricks Stite Insurance.
You deserve a company with the financial strength to be there when you need it most. Mass Mutual's Michigan Vanderveen Agency has served West Michigan since 1914. Mass Mutual, the blue chip company, helps you keep your promises.
Hope College. It's a place that is timeless and yet dynamic, where students are challenged and at the same time nourished in many unexpected ways. One of grand traditions and great performances. A place to learn from a faculty whose teachings and accomplishments extend far beyond campus. Hope is a place of legends. Its greatest successes lie in the achievements of its alumni. It is a place of noble heritage and a bright, secure future. Mostly, it's a place that, even though you leave it, it never leaves you. That's the spirit of hope.
Well, there you see our score here at halftime. Calvin has had a few ups and downs here in the first half, but has managed to take an 8-point lead to the locker room, 42-34 against the Hope Flying Dutchman. Calvin, of course, coming into this one 9-0 in the league and trying to take another big step toward an MIAA championship. It's been a few years since Calvin has been able to get one of those. Aaron Winkle, the leading scorer, with 12. Beanstra with 9, but Hope still very much in this ball game after a hotly contested first half. Calvin 42, Hope 34, and we'll be back with more from the Calvin College Fieldhouse after this brief message.
This broadcast is made possible by the members of WGVU and by the following.
At Mercantile Bank, we help customers make the right investments to help them grow and prosper. One of the smartest investments any of us can make is in the well-being of our community. Mercantile Bank, downtown Grand Rapids and Alpine Northwest.
Program support is made possible in part by Grand Oldsmobile. It matters not if you're a Flying Dutchman from Hope or a Calvin Knight. Both are welcome for either sales or service at Grand Oldsmobile, located on West 28th Street in Grandville. When you think about a traditional basketball rivalry, you think about Hope Calvin. When you think of office furniture for your small business or home office, West Michigan Office Interiors comes to mind. Their goal is to provide you with office furniture solutions, from space planning, design and layout, to installation and delivery. West Michigan Office Interiors promise to deliver their tradition, office furniture with no excuses, just results. West Michigan Office Interiors is proud to be a part of the West Michigan tradition and a proud sponsor of Hope Calvin basketball.
I am Calvin College. Through my learning, I seek to be
an agent of renewal in the academy, church, and society. I aim to develop
knowledge, understanding, and critical inquiry, encouraging insightful and creative participation
in society, and fostering thoughtful, passionate Christian commitments.
I strive to embrace the best insights of Christian life and reflection, engaging issues in the intellectual
and public spheres, and enriching faith by the heritage of the past and discoveries of
today. I undertake my test in response to a divine call.
I challenge myself to excellence as I acquire knowledge, cultivate aspirations,
and practice a life of service. In all I say and do, wherever I may be. I hope to follow
and further the ways of God on earth. I am Calvin College.
We are a couple of minutes away from the start of second half action. Right now, down on the floor, Steve Lloyd-Jones is standing by, and I believe he has been able to corral Glenn Van Wieren. So let's go down and talk to those two gentlemen right now. Steve.
Steve Lloyd-Jones here with Glenn Van Wieren of Hope College. Through that first half, you had to be happy with the beginning. I know that was important to you. Your feelings on the first 20 minutes?
Well, I thought we got off to a really good start offensively. And I thought one of the big differences in the half was their transition offense. They just caused us to come back defensively in ways that we didn't want to, and that's certainly their credit. But we need to react better to our transition to defense.
Your defense has been very good through the first half, Coach. The play of Mark Bray and Klingler outside at times hasn't been there for you in that first half. The adjustments for the second half.
Well, I beg to differ with you a little bit, okay? Because I think Ryan and Mark are bringing us some things that are really important to us at this point. I think right now on offense, our ball movement has to be a little bit better. I think they're both very good at that. I think right now that the key issue for us, our half-court defense, I'm pleased with. It's our transition to defense that's really hurting us.
The rebounding also, I talked with the other coach about this. At the half, how do you feel about your rebounding?
Well, I think we need some offensive rebounding right now. That has hurt us. But defensively, I feel pretty good about our rebounding.
All right. Good luck in the second half, Coach. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Coach Glenn Van Wieren of Hope at the half. Hope's down. Let's go back to Tom Cleary.
Okay. Thank you very much, Steve Lloyd-Jones, for that bit of wisdom with Glenn Van Wieren. I think Glenn Van Wieren really not worried too much about that basket that came at the end of the first half, which from our standpoint clearly appeared to be after the buzzer when Tubergen took the pass and went in for the dunk. Obviously, in that situation, the ball has to be out of the shooter's hands before the red light, which is attached to the backboard, goes on. And I had a pretty good look at it. I was right in line with the shooter and the light. And I think the replay demonstrated pretty clearly that the shot was late. But it's a basket that goes for Calvin. Hope, I think, taking the attitude that they're just going to have to play over it. As we go back now to take a look at some of the great action that we saw in the first half, we talked about Winkle and Veenstra leading the way, combining for 21. Veltman with 7, Overbeek with 6, and Bray with 5. Now let's take a look at some action on the offensive end for the Hope Flying Dutchman. Here's the slap away by Fultis. He seals off his man, Zagar, and then left hands it up and in for a bucket. That was during that 12-4 spurt. Later, the lob ahead. And this is Winkle taking the pass from Veenstra after another defensive stop. And here's a guy that has really had an impact on this game, Jason DeKuyper. 2 triples. He played very briefly, took 2 shots, made them both from long range. There's Calvin inside with Veenstra getting a bucket. And then later, Veenstra with the outside shot. Now let's watch this play again. And as Tubergen comes into the picture, we'll see the red light. Now you can't quite see it from that angle, but from the other replay that we showed, the light had come on, and it becomes the responsibility of the out referee near half court to make the determination, and that was the call that the basket was good, and a very tough break for Hope there because, as I said before, from one of the other replay views that we saw quite clearly, Tubergen's shot was just a split second after the light went on. Statistically, let's see how things shook out in the first half. Both teams shooting it pretty well, just under 50%. 3-point tries, neither team really connecting with the frequency that they would like, about 1 out of 4 for both sides. Calvin got to the free throw line 13 times, but didn't shoot especially well. And rebounding, a slight edge to Calvin, especially at the offensive end. Steve Lloyd-Jones, 8 second shot opportunities for Calvin, and they made good on some of those, which might be the reason why they're ahead in this ball game right now. Scoring leaders we talked about. Winkle's been playing very well. Veenstra got up to kind of a slow start, but picked it up in the last 10 minutes. And both teams getting final instructions right now. Steve, we talked to Glenn Van Wieren at halftime. I think his team has got to be a little bit tougher on the boards, has to get some second shot opportunities at their own end. There you see some of the players down on the floor talking to Kevin Van de Streek. Those are the Calvin charges. They'll go with the 5 that began the game. Winkle, Karsten, Crochelle, Foltis, and Veenstra. Calvin actually had the first possession, but there was a held ball in that first half, which resulted in Hope getting the alternate possession. Let's talk about this last one here. Now watch the light that is behind the backboard. Do we see it? It's lit right there, and the ball is still in the hands of the shooter. It's a tough call. It's not a hideous call, but it wasn't a good one for Hope. And that's a basket that should not have counted. So here we are back in the action. Foltis with the ball for Calvin on the first possession of the second half. Winkle got knocked down, had to clear the lane. Now Crochelle. Foltis again. Foltis leaning in. That is a circus shot. He got it back. Got his man up in the air and almost got it down. And Carlson really quite unlucky there. He just was kind of wrong-footed. The ball came back to Foltis after that miss, Steve, and Foltis now goes to the line.
You can see an example there as well, Tom, as both of these teams schooled so well in the fundamentals. Kyle Maas in that first half with what looked like about 5 pump fakes. We see Brian Foltis utilize it here. Very, very good at these fundamental plays, and it pays off at the line.
Foltis is a guy that you would expect to be death at the free throw line, and he pretty much is. This is a guy that spent a lot of time practicing. Very good-looking stroke. Very comfortable shooter. Just one bounce up. 2 in a row straight through. Give him 8. And Calvin is on top now by 10. At 44-34. Very important these first few minutes of the second half for Hope. They've got to establish some sort of pattern on offense to get the ball in deep. Even though they're not a big team, Hope needs to get some opportunities near the basket. Very nearly a slap away. Here's Carlson as Foltis fell down. Carlson made a good strong move, couldn't get there. Crochelle and finally pulled out by Kyle Maas. Now Veldman all the way. Winkle into the band.
Well, Winkle came over for the shot block. That's a great play by him. But you got to like what Hope's doing right here. That aggressiveness to the basket. See an offensive rebound. As you see the block shot right here, but the offensive rebound by Maas, he has played a great game thus far.
Now, Winkle could have controlled that one. It appeared as though he had an opportunity to just tip that one maybe to Veenstra, but didn't do so. Carlson gets it up, no good. Crochelle, whoa, Veenstra, and who was that? Maas down there really going together hard. Karsten, no. Tip, no. And take your pick. There's all sorts of people. They're going to call this foul on Veenstra? Now, that is unbelievable. I thought Veenstra had nobody in front of him. Ernie Cryer is going to come over and tell us what he did. Veenstra said, you got to be kidding. I've got tire tracks on my back. Well, let's see if we can sort this one out. Now, Veenstra coming into the picture. Now, there's the bump.
Oh, that's good call. Byron. Great call, yeah. Little push.
Well, Veenstra got annihilated afterwards, but Ernie Cryer made a very good call.
Yes.
That was what we didn't see. That blue jersey must have just melded into the crowd there. We couldn't identify that the Hope player who went in. Good call, Ernie. Not only does the replay not always work, sometimes it's not even needed. Not by the official, anyway. Klingler, nice feed inside, and the slam by Kyle Maas.
Good patience. Klingler at times has maybe fired a shot a little too early, but there, a nice little drop-off.
Winkle wants to work on Carlson. Oh, what a beautiful back feed to Veenstra. Veenstra somehow slipped behind his man, and I don't think anybody else in the building saw him except for Winkle. He had to really thread that through the lane. Veenstra got a step and give him now 11 in this contest. Boy, a nice back feed there, and Veenstra got away from Bray. 46-36, Calvin on top by 10 again. Here's Veldman. Oh, nice tip away by Foltis. It was off a Calvin player out of bounds. Craig Veldman saw somebody cutting baseline.
I think if he had that to do over again, he would probably have taken that shot right there at the free throw line. Things opened up pretty well for him there, and he had a nice jumper.
Well, Crochelle has not really had a great start in this one, just 2 points so far. He was a pivotal player in the Calvin win here last year. But in the 2 games since then, not really a factor. And now a push-off by Kyle Maas. And Calvin will get a chance to add to this double-digit lead. Calvin with a margin of about 13 points a game, and more importantly, the fact that they're getting up in the mid-80s a lot. Didn't quite get there the first game, but they're well on their way tonight. So Hope has to come up with some defensive stops. Here's Winkle with the freshman. Winkle with a floater. Got it back. Fultis thought about it. Got a better shot. Made it. Fultis now in double figures with 10, and he has really been a thorn in Hope's side in this series this year, Steve.
Well, he's got such a quick trigger, but he didn't have to use it that time. He used his head, shifted his body position a little bit, and got himself in a much better position to shoot.
Nice inside to Klingler, lost out of bounds. All sorts of people had hands in there. One thing that impresses me about Fultis, he seems to get a lot of mid-range jump shots. For a small guy, they sometimes tend to get way out on the perimeter, or they have to take it all the way to the hole. He gets in there 8-10 feet away and still has a good soft touch on the ball, even though he's got some traffic. Klingler forced it, drew the foul on Karsten, I believe. Karsten can't believe it, but Tom Hoffman has his name and number.
Well, just to follow up on your point about Fultis, Tom, and that is he really can create his own shot pretty well. For a guy who's not particularly big, he gets himself open in some good looks.
Well, I think Karsten's got a pretty good argument that time. He was basically just taking tickets there, and I think somebody bumped Klingler, who was kind of out of control on the play. Klingler's going to miss his free throw. I think it would behoove Calvin sometimes when Klingler goes down the lane to kind of let him go by. He sort of gets it up in the air, and he plays like Charles Barkley or Karl Malone. He's not really playing for the basket that often. He's playing for the foul.
There you see with 5 points throughout this game. And they need good leadership out of him. He is such a tough competitor. They're going to need every bit of that in the second half.
Well, Tubergen's had an influence on the defensive boards. He pulls that one down after a pair of misses. Bolt has doubled. Veenstra and Burgess, who's out for Karsten. Tubergen threw that one right to Klingler, who's got numbers. Let's see if he doesn't utilize those numbers. Took a terrible shot, and now Hope loses it out of bounds. Klingler's made a lot of good decisions during his career, and that wasn't one of them. Had a man coming down on the wing, ignored that, and then took a very tough reverse layup. So this one, not the start that Hope was looking for here in the final 20 minutes. Trailing now by a dozen at 48-36. Neither team especially sharp for the first 3 minutes of the second half. Fultis past his man. Bray just didn't get the mitts up quick enough. Tough pass to control, and Hope takes over after the turnover.
This is where Hope's going to need to, again, try to establish something inside. Moss has had some success in there, but take those open looks if you get it outside. Veldman and Bray out there can really hit.
Well, the first half was very fluid for both teams offensively at the start, and this half has been as choppy as the first one was. Well played. That's a miss from the outside by Veldman and Carlson. Now Moss, he's not going to shoot it from there. Wants to get in deeper. Loses it, and then Winkle lost it, and then Bray got it back. Not a very good attempt. Controlled in deep, lost. Got a hot potato out there right now, and it belongs to Calvin. After the turnover, Overbeek had it stripped away, and Calvin just contesting every single pass in deep.
They really are. That emotion has returned for them. And that defense caused some problems for Hope. It's not always just in the block shots or the steals that you see the great defense. It's forcing another team to be uncomfortable. You saw Ryan Klingler have to take a tough shot on a layup try. Veldman has the ball go through his hands. The pace gets increased, and teams make bad decisions.
Hamilton's Derek Kleinhexel is on right now. There's Winkle at the top, going by Carlson. A nice speed inside. The shot not made by Tubergen, and he lost it. Kevin Vanderstreek saying call anything there, and you could be right, fellas. Out of contact, no call. There's a double hand check, and that is clearly the most obvious call of the night. And Tubergen, or Kleinhexel, actually had 2 fistful pulls of jersey. 15:37 left here in the second half, and now a timeout. It's Calvin on top, 48-36. More basketball from Grand Rapids after this.
This broadcast is made possible by the members of WGVU and by the following.
to take the worst. Repcolite Paint.
Leadership in insurance, in business, in Western Michigan. Behrens Hendricks Stite Insurance.
At Mercantile Bank, we help customers make the right investments to help them grow and prosper. One of the smartest investments any of us can make is in the well-being of our community. Mercantile Bank, downtown Grand Rapids and Alpine Northwest.
.37 left in this one here in the second half. It's Calvin on top by 12 after leading by 8 at the intermission. So far in the second half, Calvin has scored 6 points. Hope has scored but 2. And the second half has not belonged to Hope this season in its games. It's been outscored, even though the Dutch have a winning record at 12-8. They've got an uphill climb here as Bray with the basketball. In deep it goes. The shot missed and controlled by Calvin. Overbeek got down deep, just couldn't get it to go down. Here's Winkle trying to go all the way. And he got pushed on the way through. I think this is going to be a counted foul, says Ernie Pryor, prior to the attempt.
If you listen to Coach Van Weeren at halftime, that transition defense, something that he really highlighted as an area that needs to be improved here in this second half. There you see Coach Van Weeren.
Veldman gets that last foul for Hope. Winkle off the inbounds pass against Carlson. Lost it momentarily and now across the way to Burgess. Burgess and Fultus in the backcourt. Well, you can't fault the effort by Hope, really denying nicely. In deep it goes, and it's Kleinhexel who gets his first basket of the game, the junior from Hamilton. 50-36 as Crochelle gets set to check back in with Karsten. Well, he wanted to, did Kyle Moss, but he knows better than that. Bray leaning inside, rejected by Tubergen. Feldman. Moss, a wild one, won't go. Guys on the deck. Moss slow getting up, numbers for Calvin. The lob ahead, and that was a rather senseless play for Calvin. Really didn't have to risk it. 5 on 4, but they get the ball back.
I mentioned earlier how Calvin's defense has made Hope a little uncomfortable on the offensive end. Well, the Flying Dutchman right now 1 of 8 from the field. Calvin 4 out of 6.
I think it's a good substitution we're seeing right now for Hope as Vanderwall, an outside threat, comes into the ball game. Klingler comes back. Bray goes out. Carlson, Chad Carlson, the freshman, also departing. And Moss, who went down very, very hard the last trip down, will get a blow as well. Hope with just 2 points in the first 5.5 minutes here of the second half. Karsten looking inside. That shot is over the basket. Oh, what a beautiful play by Burgess. Tip, no. Controlled. Out of bounds to Hope. Well, the original shot was missed by Kleinhexel. Burgess came flying through, got it, and had the presence to tip it right back to him. By all rights, that should have been a basket for Calvin.
Look at the way these teams are fighting for this. This is great. Super emotion out of both of these clubs.
That would have been a big, big basket for Calvin from a fan standpoint. Here is Vanderwall, very nearly an air ball. Crochelle controls. Calvin with numbers. Fultus, well, too much dribbling. Oh, what a play by Klingler ahead to Belbin. Oh, what a block by Crochelle, and very nearly saved in bounds. Boy, Crochelle has fantastic athletic ability, and he demonstrated it that time. What a block.
We've seen our fair share of block shots tonight. We get another look at it right here. Look at Crochelle come up and swat this away. Craig Veldman using the right hand that time. Maybe with the left hand, he'd have had a little more space between he and Crochelle.
He looked back, he knew he was there, and Crochelle just ate it up. 50-36. Veldman again, this time with Veenstra. Zager got away with a run. Moved both feet. Potvin tried to get it ahead. Veldman controls on the open court. Had it slapped away by Veenstra, and now Klingler.
Nice
beautiful pass through the hands of Overbeek and out of bounds to Calvin. Well, that one would have made Irvin Johnson proud. The nice no-look pass coming through, and he looked his own player right off. Well, Van Weeren nodding his head right now, saying, great pass there, Ryan.
Well, you can say at times Ryan Klingler may be out of control somewhat, but I tell you what, this guy, and the replay here will show it, he really makes things happen. He's going to cause defenses to have to react, and as a coach, you got to love that.
13:29 left in half number 2. 50-36, Calvin.
This broadcast is made possible by the members of WGVU and by the following.
So where's our leader?
She'll be here. She's meeting with someone about her personal finances.
Wait a minute, the chief financial officer needs financial help. From whom?
I think it's her life insurance agent.
Really? So what's the agent's name?
Have you heard from the El Gersma Agency? The Quiet Company, Northwestern Mutual Life.
Hi.
I'm Bill. B-I-L-L. Bill.
I'm Bill. This is Frankie.
Wow and beautiful Bill. Bill. Bill?
Bill.
Bill.
I'm the dad, he's the son.
My mother named me Bill. Bill's a solid guy. Bill! Reliable, dependable.
I hate sushi.
There are at least 5 Bills in our family.
I own a boat, and I'm saving for my daughter's education.
At Huntington, our personal bankers treat you like a unique individual. Because you are.
I hate having to go in the attic.
There are some of the students at Calvin, dressed in yellow here for this one. I'm Tom Cleary along with Steve Lloyd-Jones. Glad to have you with us on WGVU, Channel 35, public broadcasting for West Michigan. Steve, only 2 points for Hope here in the first 6.5 minutes of half number 2.
Well, they have not been able to connect from the outside. Poor shooting has led to that.
Well, turnabout's fair play. This time it is Overbeek who sends one back on Jeremy Veenstra. Klingler working on Veenstra, ran out of room on the baseline. Vanderwall, nice touch, and a basket, and a foul. And that's Overbeek, who's been a little bit unlucky in this half, getting the hoop, and Veenstra getting him on the way by.
Here's another look inside at Overbeek with a strong move to the hole. We've talked about the shooting problems that Hope has had. They're 1 out of 12 in this half. But you know what, Tom? We're seeing a lot of good looks by them here. They're doing a nice job inside. They're getting those chances.
They've had some opportunities as Overbeek completes the three-point play. He's actually had a pretty good ball game. 9 now to lead the scoring for Hope. And Hope is going to pull out all the stops here with full court pressure. Potvin is in the backcourt with Karsten. Veenstra will inbounds it. And it's Zager who will put the heat on Potvin. Kind of a zone look here now. Potvin across the timeline. Let's see if Hope is able to get the pinch. Not this time. Karsten, he's been quiet for a while. Jason DeKuyper back in there. Here's Veenstra. Nice look down deep. Crochelle finishes.
Good high-low look.
Very nice burn out there by Crochelle. Didn't bring it down to the deck. Got it and got it up on the glass and in. Second basket for Crochelle. Here is Veldman from beyond the arc, and he nails it.
They need that. No hesitation out of Craig Veldman. He can do that, and he needs to take those shots every opportunity that he gets.
Lead now 10 for Calvin. Karsten will try for 3, and Karsten fills it. I think his ears must have been burning when we said the last time down he's been quiet. He sends down the 3. He has a half dozen. Lead quickly, 13. Here is Zager. Zager and Potvin, a couple of 12s. Potvin staying right with him. Zager off glass, can't find it.
Look at
nice
down
rebound by Overbeek. Veldman, long-range 3, and he fixes the net and puts it down.
Hey, Overbeek is working really well inside. Veldman, of course, hits the shot. Klingler with a nice skip pass to get it to him.
Well, Crochelle thought he got fouled that time. I'm inclined to agree, but it's Hope with a chance now to cut it to a single-digit deficit.
Good look.
Klingler off glass scores, and now Kevin Vanderstreet will take a timeout with 11:29 left. Ryan Klingler with the basket. Calvin 55, Hope 47. Timeout taken by Calvin here. We'll keep it right here. This is a 30-second timeout.
30 seconds.
Timeout situation a little bit different because of a televised ball game. The first timeout taken by either team in a half, what we would refer to as a regular timeout, not a television timeout, is a full timeout. And after that, timeouts are 30. Hope starting to pick it up a little bit. Still dismal at 5 out of 16. That's just a hair over 30%. Calvin, 5 out of 10. But Calvin, after a spurt that saw them go up 13, now back to the same 8-point lead they had at the intermission.
See how Calvin responds to this here, Tom. In the second half, this is easily the most serious rally that Hope has put together. And how will Calvin respond to this? Will they go inside and try to establish that again, or will they stay outside before the perimeter?
Well, we're at the point of the ball game where if somebody gets 2 or 3 consecutive stops, it's going to mean a lot toward their team's chances. If it's Calvin, they have a chance to break it open. If it's Hope, they have a chance to climb back in. Winkle, in all sorts of traffic, threw it away, but it came to Kuiper. Tubergen. Nice touch by the big guy. A freshman from Holland Christian. He has a half dozen. 57-47, Calvin back to the 10-point lead. A nice play by Tubergen. Great
defense.
To Kuiper. Nice denial down on the deep blocks by the big man. We talked about somebody getting a couple of stops. That's 2 stops for Calvin. Tubergen. Turning and firing on the baseline. Well, somebody may have gotten a piece of that one. Hope with the basketball. Zager beyond the arc. Veldman guarded by Veenstra. It's Foltis on Zager now. Vanderwall. Klingler muscling on Winkle. Winkle fouled him. Klingler very nearly got it down. I'll tell you what you have to do. You have to get a wide berth, a wide stance when Klingler drop steps, because he's able to move people off. I guess the best strategy for him is to not let him get it. Once Winkle's down here, he's pretty much defenseless. And I really think that at that point, Winkle's got to let it go, not take a cheap foul.
I think you said the key word there, Tom, and that is muscles Winkle out of there. If that matchup is going to continue, it seems like it would benefit Hope to put Klingler down there in the block. Let him use that muscle and that brawn and see how Winkle can respond to that. Could very well cause foul problems for Winkle.
It would seem to me that for Calvin at the defensive end, the much more natural matchup would be Veenstra on Klingler. But instead, we've seen Winkle and we've seen Karsten on this guy. He makes them both. Klingler now with a total of 9 in the ball game. And again, an 8-point margin for Calvin. As we approach the halfway mark, neither team really able to do much. 8-point lead at the half for Calvin. As we approach 10 minutes, it's 8 points again. Foltis with Klingler. Sort of an interesting matchup on the switch off. Let's see if Calvin tries to find it. Foltis for 3. Way short. Tipped out and controlled by Zager. Here's the chance for Hope. And a wide open Veldman can cut it, but can't do it. And that's going to be a foul against Vanderwall, as Veldman had a chance to knock it down to a 5-point deficit.
Boy, did he ever. Calvin got a little disjointed in their transition defense, and he was left all alone out there. An 8-point game. If he hits that, down to 5, and very quickly Hope would be within range.
9:51 now left in this one. Veenstra against the zone passive pressure.
2 freshmen out here handling the ball in the backcourt.
It's a tribute to Veenstra's ability. They have to put their point guard on him. Nice skip pass across to Veenstra. Thought about it. Cut off on the baseline. Dribbled right into a double team. Now Winkle for 3. No. Tipped out of bounds by Tubergen to Hope. Hope has been hanging around here for 30 minutes, and now they've got a chance to make it happen. The Dutch down 8 at 57-49. Zager. Kyle Maas given a lot of space. Vanderwall got it. Vanderwall with a 3, and now it's a 5-point ball game.
You can see the momentum definitely in favor of Hope right now. The defensive end, they're going to have to tighten up inside. Veenstra's going to come after him.
Oh, beautiful play by Veenstra. Forced his man off and didn't make the shot. Klingler. Calvin was up 13 not too long ago. Veldman got caught in traffic and called the timeout. Didn't want to turn it over. Glenn Van Wieren doesn't want to use too many timeouts, but that was probably a good one to use. 30-second timeout here. As Burgess gets set to check back into the ball game for Calvin. 13 now for Veldman. He's picked it up. Klingler's got 9 points. Overbeek 9. Players have really carried the load here for Hope in the second half. Calvin, Winkle has not scored in the second half. That's notable. He has 12, 11 for Veenstra, and 10 for Foltas, the freshman. Calvin marching toward an MIAA title. They're going to need a win in this one to keep it up. That could have very easily been a 4-point play. Vanderwall had a little bit of contact with the defender there. Glenn Van Wieren wanted a free throw added on to that, but it's a 3-point basket, and then the stop at the other end after the miss by Veenstra.
He's a very confident shooter, Vanderwall. You leave him out there with even an inch to get a shot off, and he will take that, and most of the time he hits.
Here's Moss to Veldman. Zagar guarded by Foltas. Shot clock at 22. Game clock at 8:37. Zagar. Vanderwall. Nice switch off by Winkle to get in the way. Moss. Good play by Vanderwall, but one too many passes, and now Winkle on the run. Winkle is going to try to take it himself on the left hand. Winkle finally gets it up and in, his first basket of the second half.
Nice job by the senior to take to the hole. Transition defense again.
That one was blocked on the attempt by Zager, controlled by Winkle. And I'm not sure, it might have been Tubergen that got his hand on that shot. Burgess. Karsten, free guard look. Karsten all the way down. Gets it up and in. Calvin responding with 2 big baskets. The last 2 possessions as Crochelle gets set to check on. A tough shot by Karsten there.
Very difficult in traffic like that.
Veldman on Burgess. Boy, I'll tell you, they're going to call Tubergen here, but if we look at the replay of this one, it almost looks to me like Veldman wipes out with his left arm a little bit. I'm not sure if we're going to get a peek at this one or not, but Veldman will go to the free throw line to shoot a couple. Here it is again. Now watch the left arm.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Really wasn't really much contact by Tubergen, but certainly Hope has had a couple of calls go against it in this one. So,
got to admit, if I'm going inside to try to get a shot off against Tubergen, I'd be tempted to use the hand, the off arm a little bit myself.
Yep,
he's got such long arms.
All means available. Foltas will come out. Also going out of there now is Tubergen, and coming in is Potvin and Crochelle. So the backcourt, actually 3 guards on right now. Potvin, Burgess, and Karsten up front with Winkle and Crochelle. Veldman, the free thrower, gets the second one. And we will take a break with 7:37 remaining. 61-54. Calvin on top by 7.
This broadcast is made possible by the members of WGVU and by the following.
When it has to take the worst, Repcolite paint.
The stability and strength of the companies we represent is as important to us as ours should be to you. Barron's Hendricks Stite Insurance.
At Mercantile Bank, we help customers make the right investments to help them grow and prosper. One of the smartest investments any of us can make is in the well-being of our community. Mercantile Bank, downtown Grand Rapids and Alpine Northwest.
Well, Hope College has had some opportunities in this ball game, and they've got one right now in front of them, trailing by 7 with 7.5 left in this contest. The Dutch have never really firmly taken control of this one, but they've stuck around and they played hard. Played pretty smart basketball and Now they've got to get some defensive stops. I'm Tom Cleary along with Steve Lloyd-Jones and the rest of our broadcast crew here tonight on WGBU. Glad to be with you in West Michigan for this classic rivalry. 144th meeting between these two teams. This is Nate Karsten with the ball. Winkle, the senior leader. 3-point try off the back iron, and Klingler gets rid of it before he takes Burgess down to the deck. Mark Bray, a senior from Plymouth near Detroit, on the basketball right now, cut off by Burgess. Here's Klingler into the lane. Carlson, the freshman, lost it momentarily. Oh, great defensive pressure down there. Who is that? That's Burgess again. Burgess has been up around the rim and on the deck as well. Winkle looks like he's going to hit his number tonight. Veenstra has been uncharacteristically hot and cold. I mean, he's been very, very good, or he's been sort of not there.
Well, yeah, you're right. In that first half, he really wasn't at times. He didn't play as much as we thought he might.
Klingler for three, and Karsten will chase it down in the corner. Uh-oh, threw it away. Oh, but it's kicked out of bounds. Veldman got that ball down in his feet and then booted it into the end zone there.
Well, you see Glenn Van Weeren applauding his team's effort. Tenacious defense there. Very quickly, Hope realized they could trap in that situation, and it almost gave them a basket there on the turnover.
Down inside, 6:40 now as Potvin works it across against Bray. Karsten, Winkle, doubled. Got to find an opening somewhere. Winkle can't do anything with it. Now he's tied up. Basketball to Hope College. Now Winkle thought he got muscled in there, but really held onto the ball in traffic. And Hope does a very nice job of doubling the man that gets the ball in the corner. They've done it several times here as Karsten goes out, Poultice in, Potvin out, and also Veenstra back in.
Yeah, they do, boy. If you hold on to the ball at all, they're going to come and try to trap you like that. And quick ball movement will take care of that, though. If Calvin can move the ball a little more quickly around the defense, they're going to catch Hope out of position.
Well, these teams starting to show a little bit of fatigue here down the stretch. Burgess on Bray. Veldman. Kyle Moss way outside with Crochelle. Klingler, he'll go anywhere to get that basketball. Got Winkle, put him away, and then it's outside to Carlson for the triple. Chad Carlson now with 7, the freshman from Holland. And now they've got 61-56 up on the board. I assume that must have been a 2 then.
Another good example of Ryan Klingler making some things happen there off the dribble.
Veenstra down deep. Burgess, the little leaner, go.
That's a nice little play there. Good look for Burgess inside.
Burgess has had a big impact on this game as Carlson fires up an air ball. Burgess went down that time, taken down by Bray, but Burgess has played well for a guy that's only got 2 points. Can't measure his contributions. Poultice on the baseline. Crochelle, Veenstra. And that's a foul on Winkle over the top of Carlson. So Hope hanging on at times by a thread, but at the 5:13 mark, still an opportunity, and we're going to come down to shoot some free throws at the other end.
And from Calvin's perspective, when you look at that last play, that's exactly what they want to have, except for the basket. You get the defense spread out. You get Poultice in the corner. He's very quick. He can drive, and you get Veenstra with a wide-open 3 in the right corner. So that's a nice-looking offensive flow for them. Unfortunately for the Knights, the ball didn't go through the hoop.
Well, in about a 3-second span here, you've got a 5-point turnaround. Veenstra has a great look at the 3. And at the other end, you got Carlson, who's probably going to hit a couple of free throws here. Very, very good shooter, shooting 1 in the bonus. That rainmaker goes for Carlson. And he now has 7. And the lead is just 6 for Calvin at 63-57.
And you can bet that Hope will try to keep this tempo up. Tom, they want to try to neutralize that size inside of Veenstra and Crochelle. They're going to try to keep this up tempo.
63-58, Calvin leading by 5. It's Poultice on the right-hand dribble, influence strike. Veenstra turned down the shot he had a minute ago. Winkle's not going to turn it down. He's not going to get it. A great strong rebound by Kyle Moss of Hope.
Look out, here come the Dutch.
Down by 5, inside of 5. And the Calvin faithful getting a little bit antsy right now. Klingler. Veldman. Bray. Not this time. Veenstra with a breakout. Calvin with numbers. Veenstra all the way down. No. Winkle will chase it down for Calvin. Winkle for three. And if whistle stops it, I think that ball hit the guy wire, that it's out of play up top. Ernie Cryer coming in to make the call, and that's exactly what happened.
Now Winkle with only 2 points in this half. You see the same play on both ends. Mark Bray with a chance to get a huge three in the corner. That rims out. Winkle the same on the other end.
Down to 4:20 left in this one. Hope trying to move. Bray looks like he needs a rest to me right now. He's really breathing hard out there. Saving some juice for the offensive end, though. Inside to Klingler, slapped away. Klingler with those meat hook hands controls it. This guy wants to take it in. Nice flick by Winkle. Crochelle controls. Now Klingler held onto it just a little too long. Uh-oh, Foltis for three. Not there and out of bounds. And both teams now settling for that jump shot. And we will take a timeout. 3:53 left in this one. Calvin 63, Hope 58. We'll be right back.
This broadcast is made possible by the members of WGVU and by the following.
When you think about a traditional basketball rivalry, you think about Hope Calvin. When you think of office furniture for your small business or home office, West Michigan Office Interiors comes to mind. Their goal is to provide you with office furniture solutions, from space planning, design and layout, to installation and delivery. West Michigan Office Interiors promise to deliver their tradition, office furniture with no excuses, just results. West Michigan Office Interiors is proud to be a part of the West Michigan tradition and a proud sponsor of Hope Calvin basketball.
I'm a chief executive officer.
I'm the CEO.
Presidente.
Chief, the top dog.
I'm the big honcho.
C. Welcome to my kingdom.
I'm the queso grande. I'm the big cheese.
Huge. I'm the big kahuna. I am the queen of hardware.
At Huntington, our business bankers treat you like you have unique goals.
I'm going after a new market. Mrs. Fix-It.
Because you do.
I love the fact that everything lights up.
Now, don't go anywhere. This one's still very much in doubt. Calvin on top right now, 63-58, but Calvin's offensive output is really slowed to a crawl here over the last 10 minutes. Now, prior to the game tonight, Calvin had outscored Hope by just 3 points. You can up the ante on that one now to 8, but by the end of the night, who knows? Maybe Hope will have the lead in that department. Points scored all time. Mark Bray trying to ride his team to a win here, trailing by 5. Hope looking for a good solid possession. Kyle Moss, high post. Ryan Klingler with Crochelle on the switch. Carlson way out deep. Off glass. Moss, a great rebound, slapped away. Winkle, what a play, and then saves it to Crochelle. That is huge. Boy, Moss was in position for an offensive putback, and Winkle dived across, slapped it away, batted it back in bounds. Let's see if Calvin can get one here. Now a man on the deck at the other end is Kyle Moss. Well, these teams are not leaving anything out there tonight. Both squads coming with the full load as Don Overbeek checks in, and I suspect Moss might get a rest right now. That'll be the case. I'm sure we haven't seen the last of him, though. Kyle, a junior from Hudsonville. Brian Foltis to Winkle. They gave Winkle space on the baseline. There's Karsten. Stuck in the lane, going to have to get rid of it, and he does. Veenstra inside the arc. No, Veenstra ran it down. And that's why they say follow your shot.
Well, neither team shooting very well, Tom. Calvin at about 33, 32%, and Hope right about 30%.
Klingler trying to reach in on Veenstra. Veenstra's going to pull it. Still can't get it. Boy, he's getting great shots. They're just not going down for Jeremy Veenstra. Any other night, and he's got a load, but tonight the ball is bouncing the other way. 2:35 left in this one. This is Bray against Karsten. Here's Overbeek. Bumping on Crochelle, Veldman. Overbeek trying to set up shop in against Crochelle. Now Overbeek's got it. Slapped away. Can Crochelle get there? Not quite. Shot clock stays at 7. Game clock at 2:14, and Moss didn't even have time to get the Dixie cup to his lips there on the bench. He's coming right back in the ball game.
A 5-point game. Hope with an edge in the foul department right now, 7-4. They're in the bonus situation, and with the quickness that they have out there, they don't have a whole lot of size. They can get to the hole. They can earn some free throw tries.
Hope's going to have to come up with something quick here. Veldman or possibly Bray on the outside. In it comes to Moss. Klingler's got it. Shot clock at 4. Klingler got away with a run and hit a triple. Whoa, Nelly. Wow.
What a big shot.
Klingler makes it a 2-point game. I thought he actually took steps, and Calvin will take timeout. We'll keep it right here, and we'll see if we can get another look at that. Klingler ran into all sorts of difficulty, and it looked to me like he brought it up and pivoted twice to push himself back away. Let's see if we got it. Let's see. Foot down. Well, I don't know. Certainly off balance, and he really forced it up hard. Let's see where he stops the dribble. Well, it seemed to me like he stepped twice, stepped out and then stepped back after he had brought the ball up, but he got the benefit of the doubt from the officials.
That's just a big shot.
It certainly is.
He needed that. You know, that 5-point lead for Calvin has kind of been that for quite a while here. And now Hope has been able to cut that even more.
Well, you go back to that possession a couple of minutes ago when Veenstra had a wide open 3 in the corner. He missed it. Calvin followed the rebound. Carlson hit a couple of free throws in what could have been a 10-point game, and maybe opening the floodgates turns into a 5-point and now a 2-point ball game with 2 ticks under 2 minutes left in this one. Boltus has come back on, replacing Burgess. The starters in there for Calvin, and likewise for Hope. Boltus working against Bray, dribbling low to the ground. Veenstra was open momentarily. They couldn't find him. Here's Winkle. Karsten thought about it, tipped away, controlled, and out of bounds off of Veenstra.
Nice play. Oh, Mark Bray with a heads-up move right there.
Now Boltus will come out at the defensive end, and Burgess comes in. 1:39 left.
He hasn't had a whole lot of points tonight, Mark Bray, but he has definitely played some good defense. You know, something we need to point out here, Tom. In the second half, Hope 8 of 25 from the floor, but they are 4 of 9 from the three-point line.
Vanderwall's come back in, and it looks as though Hope might go for the home run right now. They've got the three-point gun on. They've got a lot of three-point shooters in there, as a matter of fact, all but Moss capable of firing from beyond the arc. Klingler doubled, keeps the dribble going. Moss is the one guy they really don't have to guard. Bray. Moss did well to control it. Vanderwall, and now Klingler pushing on Aaron Winkle. Klingler's in all sorts of trouble. He's going to muscle it up. No. Rebounded by Moss. Moss misses, controls his own ball, and now Winkle slaps it away. And here's the one that puts Hope on top. It's the three-pointer by Bray.
They're stunned right now. Hope just outworking Calvin on that possession.
Calvin's got to get a good clean look at it here. Crochelle's not the guy they want with the basketball. I suspect Veenstra might be. Veenstra working down, spinning inside with the Valori. Veenstra puts his team on top by 1. 65-64.
And that erases Hope's first lead moments ago since 24-21. Now Calvin back out on top.
Game clock at 28. All right, game clock at 34. Shot clock at 28. So Glenn Van Wieren has a decision. Does he go for the first available shot, or does he try to run it down and leave Calvin with very little time to answer should the Dutch be able to put one down here? It is 65-64. A 3 by Bray, followed by a strong move inside by Veenstra.
And Kyle Moss for Hope is a little dinged up, so keep that in mind. He's come over now into the huddle. He seems to be bending over right now. Tom, I don't know if he's...
I personally think that he's a guy they can maybe do without at this point because they need offense.
Yeah.
They can get him out of there for a little bit of a break. Let's go back to Veenstra's big basket after the three-pointer. He goes down deep inside and was not to be denied. And just prior to that, there is Bray from outside. left to the top of the key, and he splashes the triple. So here's the stage. It's set, 65-64. Calvin on top 1. Overbeck is going to come in there. Overbeek, I should say, and Kyle Maas will sit out. Otherwise, a lot of offensive threats on for Hope. Calvin has timeouts remaining. What Calvin really wants is a stop. Burgess has replaced Foltis for defensive purposes. Karsten's on, and all the other starters are the same for Hope. And the only substitute player in right now is Don Overbeek, who has taken over for Maas. Klingler's over there chatting with a pretty cute blonde girl, which is never a bad idea in my book. Let's go back to the action. 30 seconds remaining. Gray with the basketball, guarded by Karsten. Shot clock 18. Klingler. Klingler on Winkle. Forcing. Caught in the lane. Gray to the glass and scores. Plenty of time for Calvin. Down to 14, 13. Winkle didn't have to hurry. Don't know why he did. Hope is going to win this one if they can hit some free throws. A very uncharacteristic play by Winkle has left Kevin Vandestreek shaking his head. Clearly a situation, I think, Steve, where Winkle completely lost track of time. He had plenty of time. In fact, he had an alley all the way to the basket. Well, let's point out, even if these free throws are made by Vanderwall, Calvin will still get a chance at a 3 to tie it.
And let's look at this one more time. Here's the basket by Gray as he comes in to give Hope the lead. But I think in Winkle's defense, he may very well have been knocked off balance and felt as though he was going to turn it over.
Well, I still think, though, that he was looking to get it up on the rim quickly and really didn't have to. There's plenty of time there. And coaches sometimes will tell players that you always have a little bit more time than you think when it comes down to the last shot. By the same token, a lot of coaches don't want to shoot a buzzer shot. They want to shoot a shot with 4 or 5 seconds left, give their team a chance for the putback. That will decide. We've got all sorts of interesting scenarios that could unfold here, Steve. First of all, you got Vanderwall line. He has not been shot a free throw this one. 6 points on a couple of triples. A pretty good free throw line guy. But Calvin is going to probably get an opportunity to prolong this game.
How many times do games come down to free throws? The fact that a lot of players, I think, overlook Tom and the importance of free throws, you just can't overstate.
Well, you got to give full marks to Hope coming back in this one, especially when you consider that phantom basket that they gave up at the end of the first half that put them down 8. They haven't moped about that, and they played strong here down the stretch. Vanderwall is a good free thrower. He has the opportunity here, but it is one in the bonus. On the way and through. Cooley through for Kyle Vanderwall.
He looks very poised right now.
Carlson will come into the ball game, replacing, I would suspect, Maas. If this one goes in, they'll want to get a guy on to defend against the 3, and Maas is not that. Very surprised that Vandestreek hasn't made a move. He probably feels he needs Crochelle in there for a rebound. But he's got Winkle and Veenstra 3-point threats as well.
Plenty of time to bring the ball back the other way. Calvin does not need to really rush.
They've got opportunities, and both free throws go, and now Calvin, I think, is going to take a timeout. Let's wait and see. No, Hope called the timeout. That's a little bit of a change. 30-second timeout. Calvin will have the basketball down 3 after 2 free throws by Vanderwall. Now, I got to believe that Calvin's going to change up a little bit here. Crochelle is really not of much use to him in this situation. He's not a 3-point shooter. I would look for maybe DeKuyper to come into the ball game, possibly.
Good point.
Veenstra, Winkle, Foltis can shoot the 3. Karsten, Burgess, who's ever out there. Well, wouldn't that be something if DeKuyper was called on now? He's played very sparingly here tonight, but he has hit both his 3-point attempts. Now, we talked about it before the game. When the visiting team of this series has won the first game on the road in the last 35 years, they have always won the second game back at their home gym during the regular season. One little asterisk situation back in, I think it was 91, Calvin lost both teams to Hope during the regular season. Met him in the first round of the NCAA tournament and knocked him off at the Civic Center.
The key part of this play right here, Tom, how much time does Calvin use getting the ball to half court? very, very important. They're going to have to move it, no question about it. They're going to inbound it to half court to Winkle. He's got plenty of time now. Forces up a very tough shot. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my. 4 seconds. 3. The game is tied. Gray on the run. No, and we're going to overtime. Winkle off glass. Can you believe it? And they are going nuts here at Calvin. It was not a good look. Quite truthfully, it wasn't a great shot. Well, the only thing you could say for it is that it went in. Unbelievable. Let's go to the tape. Aaron Winkle. He could have been the GOAT. I mean, Carlson is right in his shirt. Not square, going away from the basket. And Winkle will probably tell us tomorrow that he did call glass on that one, but I'm sure he didn't. So we will play an extra 5 here at Calvin tonight after Aaron Winkle knocks down the triple to give him 17 for the ball game. And as we head to the extra session, it's 68-68. How about this stat here? Winkle with his first basket since the 10:32 mark of the second half. Well, it's just a great shot. I mean, the defense was terrific. You forced a guy to make a tough one, and hey, it went in.
Well, you got to say this about Winkle. He didn't shy from the responsibility of being the senior leader on this team. He took it up. He was prepared to be the GOAT. But the Horns will have to wait a little longer. And Winkle saying to Carlson, hey, that was pretty good defense down there. Playing well. Guys shaking hands. Everybody's smiling out there. These guys are having a great time. In the true spirit of Division III basketball. Greg Belvin's telling everybody, hey, turn around. You're going the wrong way. We got to throw this thing up again. Hope has won 5 of 8 overtime games against Calvin. Let's see if they can make it number 6. Here's something you don't see very much in basketball. 2 jump balls in the same game. Crochelle got the first one. This time it goes to Hope for the first possession of the second half. Klingler, if he goes from there, we have officially seen everything.
Hope's got to stay mentally tough right now, Tom.
Klingler up in the air. Belvin almost walked. Klingler behind the back. Moss trying to give him the screen. Crochelle jumps out nicely. Shot clock at 30. Game clock at 4:37. Mark Bray with the basketball.
Now, all of a sudden, this leader for Hope has really asserted himself towards the end of this game.
This is Belvin from way outside. No, the rebound Carlson to Bray. Klingler got Winkle up in the air. Klingler, that is a tough shot, and Karsten controls it. Let's see if Calvin can get the upper hand again. Fultus. Calvin wants to get a little bit more continuity offensively. Their game offensively went south down the stretch. Karsten got by his man. Inside Crochelle on the deck, reverses it up and in. Crochelle with 6. Calvin with the lead for the first time. Since that Beaster basket gave them a 1-point margin down the stretch.
Still saying Hope can get a lot going to the basket here, Tom. They press the action to the hole. They have the foul advantage. They're going to get free throws.
Moss has got to be a threat offensively. He's not right now. Here's Belvin. He gets free, lays it up and in. Beaster really got screened by his own man and had no help coming back the other way. Belvin unofficially was 17. Game tied at 70. 3:18 left. Crochelle backdoor Karsten. What a pass. Karsten with 10. Great high-low work. That is a good catch and deliver by Karsten. Same thing at the other end. Klingler. No. Second time lost it. Out of bounds to Hope. Couldn't really tell what happened down there with screen, but we'll get Trubergen on for Crochelle. Winkle did very well not to foul down deep in that situation. And I think he bothered the shot by Klingler. And then Beaster came flying in. And Hope, quite frankly, lucky to maintain possession. Have too many guys out there right now for Hope. Carlson's going to sit. Overbeek is on. Bray on the baseline. Quickly delivered.
Wow, that's a big shot out of Mark Bray again.
14 for Bray. 72 all for 3. Winkle! Winkle with 2 big triples. bit of breathing room. At 2:40 left.
Tom, that is just leadership. That is the ability to make plays when your team needs it the most. And Aaron Winkle, who's had his moments where maybe he struggled in this game, certainly in the second half, he hasn't scored like he's used to, but he is stepping up and taking that role.
Great substitution by Van de Streek, too. The ball knocked out of bounds. He gets his two defensive guys, Crochelle and Burgess, back on for Tubergen and Foltis. And there's Winkle. Good deep knee bend there. Still has it in the legs at this state of the ball game. Here's Klingler. Oh, he threw it away. Feldman tried to go back door, and Klingler threw it to an open wing, and just like that, Foltis is back up. And he is back on, and Carlson will come back on, and Overbeek will go out. 2:27 remaining. Calvin with a triple with 5 seconds remaining to tie it and send it to overtime. And things are looking very dark for the Knights. Brian Foltis, the freshman, on against Mark Bray. Both guys have played well. Karsten thought about it. Foltis again. Looking for Veenstra. Looking to skip it across. Now Veenstra in traffic. Veenstra calm and collected down there. And now timeout taken by Calvin. I think it was Van de Streek instructing Winkle away from the ball to get the stoppage of play with 2:05 remaining. Calvin with a big opportunity here, leading by 3, Steve.
I think Coach Van de Streek wants the ball to be moved a little quicker in that offensive set, Tom. You keep a hold of the ball, especially anywhere near the baselines or the corners. You allow that traffic defense by Hope to take effect. Calvin, if they can utilize those quick passes a little bit more, they're going to get some easy looks inside.
Calvin has had a propensity to throw the ball deep into the corner, and they have really paid the price because Hope has been terrific at getting the double team to squeeze down there. They don't always turn Calvin over, but they seem to take him out of their offense for 5, 6, 7 seconds, and then ultimately Calvin not really getting a real good opportunity at the rim. So we'll set it for you now. All starters on there right now for Calvin. Moss, Veldman, Carlson, Bray, and Klingler. So we've got 10 starters on the floor. None of the important players have fouled out yet. Everybody around for the finish. Carlson trying to body up on Winkle. Veenstra will throw it in bounds. And the guy he may try to come to is Karsten across the way. Instead, it's Crochelle. The lob to Winkle. Winkle 1-on-4. Somehow gets it up and in. 22 for Winkle. 5-point lead for Calvin. Good set play. Calvin knew just what it wanted. Now Veldman trying to run around on the outside. Klingler beyond the arc for 3. Ryan Klingler for the triple to make it a 2-point ball game.
And Klingler duplicating what Winkle does on the other end. These two leaders really doing a nice job.
Oh, that's an absolutely huge shoot. That one doesn't go down, and it's almost all over but the digging. Here's Veenstra on Klingler. Veenstra trying to go big, and Klingler got him on the arm. Calvin wants a 2-shot foul. Ed Peters says, common foul.
I don't know if we can get another look at this, but I tell you what, Klingler argues that he had his hand on the ball. If we get another look right now, his left hand, he's arguing ball right there. That's a close call.
I think he might have gotten him early on. Klingler talking about it and not getting the call. It's only the 5th team foul, so Hope actually in this situation has some to give. That doesn't really hurt at all. Well, the clock recycles here. Calvin with a fresh 35.
Calvin does such a great job of their plays from dead ball situations, those inbound plays. They've done a marvelous job in this game.
Now the set pieces have worked very well for Calvin. This time it's Karsten looking for Crochelle inside. No. Veenstra open and scoring. Well, the last option, beware the trailer. Veenstra puts it down. 15 for him. Calvin by 5. We are down to 75 seconds. Karsten, very nearly picked the pocket of Bray. Boy, it was not a bad idea, but it will put Bray, I believe, at the free throw line. Well, it says 8
Absolutely.
fouls. That might be the 9th against Calvin here in the second half.
And that's why I'm not sure Karsten wanted to do that, Tom, because now that puts Bray on the foul line with an opportunity to shoot free throws, and the clock is stopped.
Trying for the home run there. Of course, with the 9th foul, it is 1-and-1. I was thinking getting to the double bonus, what I alluded to there with the 9th foul. So he'll still have to earn them. 1 in the bonus here for Mark Bray. with 1:14 left in this contest. On the way, and he's got it. Bray now unofficially with 15 in the contest, 79-76. Calvin's got the offensive unit out there right now. Right. Bray misses that one, and Winkle strong on the rebound. So if Calvin gets a basket here, Hope is going to have about a minute or less to make up a 5-point deficit. Bolt is complaining that Bray is bodying him. Winkle doubled again, and this time loses it to Carlson. There's that double team on the wing when the ball's going in there. Oh, man, wide open, but Bellman couldn't find him. Moss was home free and just couldn't get the basketball. Here's Bray. Here's Moss. Just missed the basket. Veenstra followed him on the way by with 44.7 seconds left in this one.
What that last foul by Karsten going for that strip made it a one-possession game. So now these free throws by Moss, a chance to cut it to a one-point game with 45 seconds left.
Well, we know that Hope will probably get another possession here, or at the very least, Calvin's going to have to get another shot up sometime before this one is over. So Moss with an opportunity to make it a one-point game. Moss going in there and bullying his way to the basket. Veenstra should have probably just gotten out of the way, but got his feet tangled up down low. And now Moss will get the opportunity. Moss is not really the first choice to shoot free throws here for Hope College. Left-hander at the line, taking some time. That one is up there a little bit too hard. There you see our story. 44.7 left in overtime. Winkle with the improbable triple to tie it in the waning seconds. That one goes, so Hope is within 2. Calvin needs to get a score here. Moss with 5 points. Let's see who the go-to guy is for Calvin. A zone trap. Veenstra with Bray. Veenstra's going to have to get it to somebody. Oh, nice pass over the top to Winkle. Shot clock at 17. Boltus. Now Veenstra. Calvin holding the ball, and Carlson fouled, and Van Weeren did not want a foul with the shot clock running down. Veenstra at the line. Well, it's going to be a common foul, so they're not shooting yet. So Burgess, they're going to get Burgess into the ballgame. I think Van de Streek's going to change his mind. Wait a minute now here. Let's see what happens. This is not the play that Calvin wanted. Calvin's got to have somebody come out of the ballgame. Now, wait a minute. There's too many guys out there right now for Calvin. Calvin's got 6 men on the floor. Wait a second. Oh, who came out? Crochelle. Okay, finally. Crochelle went down there and wandered down. Now here is Karsten, who was fouled. And here's where not being in the foul in the bonus hurts you. Hope keeps fouling and can't force Calvin to shoot. Now that is the 7th foul. And it's Karsten going to the line. That last possession was interesting. Burgess was coming in as a defensive replacement. Boltus knew that his team was going to have the ball. He didn't want to go out. He's the designated offensive point man, and it was Crochelle that they finally got out of there.
Now, from Calvin's perspective here, Tom, this is what you want. You're up by 2, and you've got your best free throw shooter going to the foul line.
Well, he's got to make one at least to keep it going for Calvin, to be assured of keeping it going. Karsten from South Christian. Big opportunity right here for the young man. Oh, that was a good-looking free throw.
Of course, this is the biggie.
Karsten hits this one. All Calvin has to do is not do anything stupid. They don't want to not defend, but they don't want to foul a three-point shooter or do anything unseemly with the lead. 80-77. Winkle telling Crochelle no fouls. Karsten again, good rotation, and they both go. Hope will have to hurry here and get a 3. Here is Bray. We're down to 15 seconds. Looking for the triple. Slipped, fell down, and traveled. Oh, what a horrendous break. Can't say much about that one. Bray made a strong move to the basket and just ran out of real estate. Hit a wet spot and got a blowout down there. Here it is again. No foul, really. Just turning off that inside foot. That's difficult to do. All your weight going to the outside. And he slipped and fell.
And there you see Calvin setting up the inbounds. Of course, very important right here. You want to get into the hands of Karsten. Foltis or Winkle would be good as well. But right here, this inbounds is critical.
Calvin just needs a catch right now. Up by 4 with 12.5 seconds left in this contest. Veenstra is anchored to that spot. He does not have the full length. Well, it's a good pass into Karsten. And right away, the push by Kyle Vanderwall. Well, Calvin does it just by the book there. They get the ball in, and they get it to a good shooter. So Karsten has a chance to build on the margin. Nate with 13. And again, one in the bonus here for Nate Karsten.
One shot. Bonus on.
So it's Crochelle, Veenstra, Winkle, and the two Nates. Karsten and Burgess for Calvin. Karsten was up to the task the last time. Good rotation on this one, and he gets it again. .82-77. And I'm not proclaiming anything to be over in this one. I already thought it was over once.
Not after what we've seen.
Second one for Karsten. That one spins out. Hope trying to move it quickly. Klingler inside of 10. Major League 3. Yikes, it goes. And with 3.7 seconds left, that 35-footer goes. And hang on.
This is amazing.
That was Klingler who hit the triple, giving him 18. Calvin wants the ball. They want to catch. There's nothing that would surprise me. Here it is again. Klingler coming down. That's over Winkle. It's contested. Really not a very good shot, but I'll tell you what.
Yeah, you got to take
not
it.
any worse a shot than the one that Winkle made at the end of regulation. That ball sat on the rim for about 2 seconds, which hurt Hope a little bit. Cut down on the amount of time that they have remaining. But by no means is this one over. Calvin wants to get a good, secure catch right now. That's the main thing. If they catch it, they can basically just fling it down into the offensive end, and this game will be just about over. Calvin in this situation, will have the entire length of the baseline to move. It will be Veenstra. Ernie Cryer hearing from Winkle what he has planned. I wouldn't be at all surprised if Calvin tries to throw this one down the floor. Let's wait and see. Veenstra thought about it. He'll get it inbounds to Karsten, and Karsten will run out the game. Calvin's going to win it. 82-80 in overtime. What a beautiful effort by both teams here tonight. High marks, as I said, to Hope. It looked as though the Dutch were going to pull one out of the hat, but it was not meant to be. Aaron Winkle with a three-pointer toward the end of regulation to tie it at 68. And in the overtime period, Winkle and Karsten coming up big. Calvin hangs on for its second victory of the year, defeating the Hope Flying Dutch 82-80. And in the process, giving Kevin Vandestreek his second consecutive win against Calvin's arch rival. Tremendous effort on both sides here tonight. Not a lot of jumping up and down on the Calvin side. Both these teams are bone tired right at the moment. But the Calvin fans have spilled out onto the floor, and they've seen another classic in this great rivalry between these two teams. We'll take a short timeout and come back to recap the action here tonight from the Calvin College Fieldhouse right after this.
This broadcast is made possible by the members of WGVU and by the following.
Report is made possible in part by Grand Oldsmobile. It matters not if you're a Flying Dutchman from Hope or a Calvin Knight. Both are welcome for either sales or service at Grand Oldsmobile, located on West 28th Street in Grandville. You deserve a company with the financial strength to be there when you need it most. Mass Mutual's Michigan Vanderveen Agency has served West Michigan since 1914. Mass Mutual, the blue chip company, helps you keep your promises.
Is going to go down and try to get some people for us. Well, if you're joining us right now here at the Calvin College Fieldhouse tonight, we regret to inform you that you missed another classic. Calvin winning over Hope 82-80. Calvin led at the half 42-34, led by as many as 13 in the second half. Hope made it all the way back, took the lead on a three-pointer by Mark Bray late in the contest. After Veenstra had given Calvin a brief lead, Hope moved on top in the waning seconds by 3 points after a couple of free throws by Kyle Vanderwall. But then Aaron Winkle, who had missed a three on the previous possession, hit one off glass from beyond the arc to tie the game at 68. And then Calvin driving on to the overtime victory, taking command and successfully running out the clock, winning by the final score of 82-80. So Calvin now 19-2 on the season, moving a step closer to another MIAA championship, moving out on top in this series, 73 wins to 71 for Hope. And Kevin Vanderstreek now with 3 wins in 9 tries against the arch rivals from Holland. But Hope really gave a great accounting of itself in this contest, coming back in hostile territory to take the lead, and if not for the kind bounce on the shot by Winkle off glass, the kiss that worked out for Calvin, Hope exits here tonight with a victory, and Calvin goes home with his first MIAA defeat of the season. We're going to get some people to talk to here in just a couple of moments. The Calvin players went down, as is their custom, following the game into the locker room. We'll see a couple of guys back up here momentarily. Steve Lloyd-Jones is down on the floor, and he will be talking with some of the combatants in this one. Great performances all around. Aaron Winkle unofficially with 22.